Hey folks, I'm here again for another very quick BitTensor video, and today we're going to have a look at if TAO BitTensor can reach the top 10 and how far away it is right now. We'll talk about institutional money that's spooling up behind the scenes, cross-chain bridges, and also the first halving. So when you jump over to coingecko.com or CoinMarketCap, whatever tickles your fancy, you'll see Bitcoin is number one, and it will be there for a fair while. You have to scroll down quite a bit because BitTensor is here at 44. We've seen throughout many cycles coins run up here very fast. So for example, if we take Cardano, which in my opinion is a bit of a hypeware coin, in the last cycle it did something which is pretty typical for crypto. So if we just zoom in over here into that bull market, you can see that Cardano spent most of its time at hobbling around sort of $2-3 billion market cap, and then it went from sort of December 2020, December 2020, all the way up to $3 to $4 billion to $94 billion in not much time at all. And it was 4.12% of total crypto market cap at the time. And it was deemed as an Ethereum killer, but it had bugger all ecosystem. No one was using it, and still, fast forward to 2025, people aren't using it really. And so I've seen throughout many cycles now, things run up this list pretty fast. And with investing, you have to look for the growing mountains. And crypto was the fastest growing industry in human history until 2023. Now AI is the fastest growing industry in human history. So crypto tries to copy the proper world. So I see this as an asymmetric trade and asymmetric information. People haven't quite yet figured it out. So when you go to the categories on CoinGecko and then have a look at the AI sector as a whole, again, it's all the way down here at 27. So the entire AI market cap, crypto market cap, is $30 billion. We have Elon Musk inspired coins ahead of that, dog themed coins, 4chan themed coins ahead of that. So I personally see the AI category alone being in the top 10. And I personally see TAO easily being in the top 10, not of all crypto, because it's this lovely thing. It straddles three investing lanes. It straddles AI, obviously. It straddles VC, because under BitTensor you have all of these subnets which are independent AI startups. So that's why big institutional money is very interested in this, because of the things that they're doing. And then it obviously also straddles crypto, because it's it needs DLT, a distributed ledger technology, to do what it does, and for its fuzzy logic consensus mechanism, which is UMA. So it's got a fair bit, but going from, say, the top 10 at the moment is only $33 billion. So it's not much of an upside. Now, obviously, in a bull market, everything is going up. So personally, when I'm looking at stuff, I'm looking at the percentage market share of crypto. So in a previous run up, it hit about 0.22%. But I'm looking, for this market, or this bull market, to be more like sort of 0.5%, or anyway, I think 2 to 4%. But worst case scenario, 0.5%, let's say. And I guess you have to also look at total crypto market cap as well. So this is a curve which I've been following for years, and total crypto market cap has just been caterpillaring up and down this line. I've shared this chart so many times across numerous videos now, and I just think it's just a matter of time before we enter this green circle of $6 to $16 trillion. Apologies if you heard me say this before, but again, my thesis is still the same, and we're running very quickly up into this. Bitcoin's had a lovely sort of a breakout to sort of 125k temporarily. ETH has then obviously followed suit. So I think ETH hitting, or excuse the doodles, have been following this quite a lot, but I said a while back that this is a live cat jump, and the distance from that support to this resistance should follow through this way up, and that for the alt season to start, it would have to breach and Kobo the 4K level. So retest it, kiss off, and then bugger off, which it seems to be doing. And then Sol needs to stick the landing on top of $200. Once Sol sticks the landing on 200, then we'll see meme season starting again. But the bull market has started, in my opinion. So one of the things I look at is the ETH Bitcoin ratio. Admittedly, I'm a little bit out. I was expecting this to bounce. So this is ETH against Bitcoin. I thought it would bounce a bit earlier, but better late than never. We are starting to see this bounce now. And therefore, when you look at Bitcoin market share, again, I thought this would be a bit sooner, but we're starting to see the fall. And so I think by the end of this bull market, I think we're most likely going to see something like a 45% market share for Bitcoin. And the bull market doesn't last very long. So historically, this is the daily chart here. So historically, the bull market's only lasted 336 days. In this one, it's 399 days. And I've counted it from when Bitcoin market share starts dumping down. Where you see alts going nuts is literally in the bottom half of these green periods. So again, I think the bull market will most likely be probably somewhere around Q4 2025, Q1 2026 perhaps. So going back to what we were talking about, institutional money is spooling up. So we have 100 odd Bitcoin treasury companies. Michael Saylor with MicroStrategy, now Strategy, obviously is the leading pioneer in that, and others have done very well, like Metaplanet. And every man and his dog right now seems to be trying to set up a treasury company, and they did that with Ethereum. There's a few for Solana, but BitTensor is only 3 and a bit years old. We already, to the top of my knowledge, have 7 strategic TAO reserve companies. So if you go to taotreasury.com, .app, this is a site that's tracking it. Now it's slightly out of date at the moment. So we have TAOX, XTAO, and Oblong. They're the sort of the well-known ones, and these are sort of the publicly listed companies. Now technically Cefello is there, but it's lacking here because there's one in the UK called Cat and I, there's one on the Australian stock market called Symbol, and I know off the top of my hand, or on one hand, there are 4 other strategic TAO reserve companies in stealth mode at the moment, going through a raise, and all 4 of them are raising between $80 to $250 million, and they'll all be ploughing that straight into TAO. And so there's just not enough TAO out there to, for the best part of $500 million to gobble up, which means there's going to be a dynamic repricing of TAO. So, if we don't see a 10x in TAO, over the next 4 months or so, something has gone terribly wrong, in my opinion. And then, so institutional money is spooling up. We've got cross-chain bridges now. So a couple of subnets have basically tried to make things easier to buy subnets. Because at the moment, each subnet has its own token, which is tied within its own liquidity pool. A constant product automatic market maker liquidity pool. It's like a Uniswap V2. And you can only buy that subnet token by swapping TAO in for it. But there are now cross-chain bridges. So you want to bridge TAO to Base or Solana, you can use the TAOFi bridge or even the Void AI. So TAOFi, this is if you want to use Base, and Void AI is for Solana. That's promising. The bridges are out there. They're not being used that much at the moment because there's no real forcing vector. But what will happen is, because all the subnet tokens are priced in TAO, if TAO were to do a 10x, all of a sudden the market cap of every subnet will also 10x. So what I see is a future at some point where, when you look at the AI categories, most of the top 50 or the top 20 will be BitTensor subnets. And then things are going to get very interesting, because these subnets are doing things like they are beating the incumbents, centralized AI competitors, and just normal companies in whatever they do. Again, check out subnetalpha.ai if you're sort of if you want to get under the bonnet of what all these subnets are doing. So that's that. What else are we talking about? And the halving, yes. So if you go to taostats.com and then go to investors and then tokenomics, you can keep an eye on the halving. So the way that stuff works around with BitTensor, TAO sometimes gets recycled. So the halving is a moving sort of date. For the best part, or for most of the last year or year and a bit, the halving's been around sort of mid-December, but it's eking forward. So at the moment it's 30th of November, and at the halving, and it's the first halving, it'll be the circulating supply will be 10.5 million TAO. So you can see the schedule here. So it's the same tokenomics as Bitcoin, every 4-year halving. And so the interesting thing is, if you look at Bitcoin and any proof of work coin which has a halving schedule, by the way, BitTensor is not a proof of work coin. It has proof of work tokenomics, but it's a proof of stake coin, really, that does proof of useful work. It's a little bit confusing to the untrained eye. But what we know from whenever you look at proof of work coins or with emission schedules like Bitcoin is that you tend to see a rallying up in price, the halving, then price goes nuts. Here we go, rallying up in price, but halving, price then goes nuts. You move up into the halving and then the price goes nuts. We move up into the halving and then price goes nuts. We're mid nuts at the moment. So yeah, it's the 90% of the move happens in the last 10% of the time. So things are on track. Now, if you're ever curious to where TAO is in comparison to Bitcoin, when I was on holiday the other day, on the 21st of July, I basically looked at the circulating supply, which was about 9.459 million. And it had roughly 145 days to the halving. It's a lot sooner now because it's come forward. And at that time, Bitcoin had the same circulating supply on the 15th of July, 2012. So, a good, 13 years previously, with roughly the same amount of time to the halving. So really, BitTensor is like here now. So we could see some explosive growth post-halving. So could this be something that bucks the bear market, which I think is coming? I don't know. That's the honest answer. But when we're looking at potential pricing of TAO, the thing that I've sort of stuck to for a while now is this: my terrible, happy, and temporary bull spike sort of columns. So, like going back to that total market cap one, I think a terrible outcome is that total crypto market cap gets to about 7 trillion. TAO is only 0.5% of that. We know the circulating supply at the halving will be 10.5. By the end of December, let's say it's 10.6 million. That still gives us almost 3.5k TAO, which from 360 is a 9x. A happier outcome for me will be a $10 trillion total market cap, 1% market share. Again, that's very pessimistic. Same circulating supply, it gives us 9.5k almost, which is a 26x. And then, like with every bull market, you have a spike which is there for days or a week, and then it comes crashing back down again. So we could see a spike in total crypto market cap to 12 trillion, market share being about 3%, and then you get a very crazy number. So yeah, I think reality is probably, most of it will be anywhere between terrible and happy, in my opinion. And the crazy thing is that a DSV fund, so DSV is the first and only regulated hedge fund that is 100% allocated to BitTensor. If TAO only needs to get to say $1,000, and DSV fund, my fund, is the best performing hedge fund on the planet. So it's interesting to see what happens. So anyway, hope that makes sense. I will see you soon. Cheerio.